welcome to the UK and I Skip Barber series here on BSR TV. This is round 8 from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, also known as just Mid-Ohio, I guess. With me, Chris Cohen, joined by Matt Dalton, as usual. Evening, Matt.
Evening, Chris. Evening, everybody.
And joined for the race later on by Linus Broström, who will be keeping us up to date on the pit lane action and such. It's
assuming he's not injured or destroying himself or attaching himself to planks of wood.
Attaching himself to planks of wood. Yeah, there is always that.
He is the world's worst DIY man. He managed to attach himself to a piece of wood earlier by screwing it into something with his hand underneath it.
I think he forgot which way the screw turned to undo it, so he's just making it tight.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure he'll be able to give us some true explanation
Darwin
of that
Award
when he gets back on. Don't you have to die to get a Darwin Award?
I don't know. Could you? No, I'm sure that some of them have been issued.
It's the evolution of the species, isn't it? By killing off the less intelligent ones. But yeah,
I'm sure some of them have been given out to people who've managed to survive somehow.
Well, we've been on air for 2 minutes and we've already gone way off topic. So, Mid-Ohio is always interesting because it's a very technical track. You've got that one long straight, Matt, but it's really very difficult to overtake, except at the end of that straight, and that's probably where we're going to be seeing most of the action this evening.
Yeah, very technical little circuit, but one of my favourites, actually, I've got to say. It's quite rewarding if there's a sort of series of second gear corners that if you can get the line right and keep your momentum up, you can gain quite a significant amount of time. So there's one or two overtaking spots, and it's an interesting one. It's one that you have to work to get around and get around quickly.
And the championship couldn't be tighter at the top, really. Wojtek Rabstin is on 144 points, but Marcus Hamilton, who led the championship for so much of the season, is just 1 point behind on 143, and then Savidovic is gaining fast on 136. So those three really are out in front. Richard Avery and Tom Ward in 4th and 5th are quite some way behind. Stuart Adcock in 6th there is even further behind, and then it gets really tight because you've got George Lambert, Alex Gillen, Don Brennan there, and George Wright, who's no longer taking part in this. Clive Armstrong, but Mark Mercer is, yeah, well, I was going to skip over that one, but you've successfully brought it up.
Skip over it, I see where you're going.
Yeah, that was completely intentional, honest.
We're all about the puns.
Mark Mercer and Martin Peck are 12th and 13th, separated by 1 point, and both of these guys have come in late, and we know how dangerous Martin Peck is behind the wheel of a Skip Barber.
He's lethal, isn't he? He's the silent assassin of the Skip Barber series.
And we
won't mention him all race, and then all of a sudden he'll appear in 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, absolutely. Round 6, we got to talk to him a little bit about his Skip Barber career, and he's put the series on a back burner for the start of the season, so he's got a lot of catching up to do. Jamie Bird, Keith Sharp, and Rob Green round out the top 16. We've got 16 on the screen instead of a sensible number for some reason, unless you're a hexadecimal fan. And then Clark Williams and Paul Grillo in 18th place. He is Mark Mercer's teammate in PH Racing, and he's also climbing up through the ranks because Matt Paul missed out on last season to focus on the official in iRacing instead, which was interesting.
Yep, which I believe he won as well, so congratulations to Paul on that one, belatedly, because it's almost the end of another season and preparation for a whole nother build. And
a couple of other notable entries there. We go all the way down to 30 there. There's a lot of people on the 12 points, so we can't show them all, so if your name's dropped off but you are in 30th place, sorry about that. It's just the way that the scoring has decided to put you in that particular order. A very quick look at the team standings then before we head down to the Circuit Racing Game Show. Dominating with the two Wojteks there. They used to be known as the unpronounceables, but I like Racing Game Show a little bit better, and Wojtek Savidovic has his own YouTube channel where he puts up races like this and even other games as well. There are other racing games to iRacing, surprisingly enough. And Friction Racing, 2nd place, but they're both over the 200 point mark now, and GR Legends in 3rd still haven't reached the 100 point mark, so it's going to be one of those two. And then a tight battle all the way down, right down to 15th place, currently held by SS Racing. And hopefully we'll see some good action from some of those guys, Simon and Simon, hence the SS part, this evening. The circuit is primed with Skip Barber's map. Very full grid again.
I'm a bit speechless, sorry.
It's 35 cars, I believe, on the grid.
Came in and gave me a kiss. I'm somewhat stunned.
Oh, terrible. Interrupting you with romance and other things while we've got some serious business to get on with, well, aren't you married? Romance is probably not the right word, is
That's why it's a shock, yeah.
35 cars going down to the grid this evening. Rachtin is out there on the circuit in the qualifying. This is the way it works: 20 minutes of qualifying, of which we have about 11 left, and then about a 30-minute race. So the positions as they stack up are coming up on your screen. Rachtin has the pole position right now. No time from Savidovic yet, so he is behind his teammate there, just drafting round. And Carroll, in second
I was
place.
going to say, Graham Carroll in second. Is he a newbie to the series, or has he been running for the last few weeks and we've just completely missed him?
He has been running for quite a while, but you know how some drivers favour certain tracks. He seems to favour this track pretty strongly. He hasn't had some great results this season, but he's mid-table. So hopefully, if he gets to start anywhere near that position, he should be able to hold on to it in the race. But we know, don't we, that people like Mark Mercer often come in very late with very fast qualifying times, and that can pose some issues for some of these other guys.
I haven't seen Mark Mercer post a time yet. I'm not even sure he's in here, is he?
He might well be not. No, he's not in the session this evening, so he may be
not
racing.
in the session. No, so he's not going to sneak up with a good time.
His teammate Paul Grillo with
Nope, there we go. They got a wodge off at the top.
So Savidovic goes into second place, well spotted. He displaces Carroll down to third, and Grillo's in fourth at the moment. And no teammate to draft with. Do you think that'll make a difference for him, Matt?
It will. He needs to try and do, like I said beforehand, the old Hector Barber trick for MotoGP, isn't it? Is latch onto somebody and find somebody to follow around and try and get a decent lap time with. But if he can do that, you'll certainly pick up some time. He seems to be doing alright. Simon Povey's just leapfrogged him into third place, actually.
And that's one of the SS
Grillo
Racing
in
boys.
fifth, Richard Avery in sixth. For once, not moaning about everything on the forum. Good to see.
And Clark Williams has been pushed out of the top 10. He's down to 12th now, along with Tim Adcock. So Hamilton rounds out the top 10, but he'll want to qualify higher.
Yeah, I was going to say, we should say as well, Richard, we're only pulling your leg.
Of course, I just completely skipped over it, but never mind. We'll go back to it just for another moment.
Throw the same pun. You can't keep throwing the same pun around and hoping it's funny. It's not going to work.
I didn't even mean to that time, honest. I skimmed over it.
One good joke. In 2 years of commentary, one good joke, and you're not going to let it go.
That's harsh. That's pretty harsh. Just the one. I've got a joke
Tom
sitting
Brennan
right
is
next to me in the
seventh.
commentary box. That's what.
Yeah, you have. You're not wrong on that one. Don Brennan is 7th, Tom Ward 8th, Thomas O'Leary currently 9th. Marcus Hamilton in 10th. That's a bit down for him, isn't it? He's usually a little bit further up than that.
And the Friction Racing guys, you can see, are quite close to each other on the track. I feel like they were drafting and then they made a mistake, so they're just going to get back up to speed now, and it's probably delayed Hamilton in putting in a pretty good time. The top 10 separated by 3/4 of a second at the moment, and we expect that to come down. It's the second half of the qualifying that's often the interesting part to watch, because these guys are obviously going to put in some of their best times towards the end, having had a little bit of warm-up. Down there in the bottom of the top 10, Hamilton will struggle in the race.
I expect to see him from what I've seen of this season. I have missed a couple of weeks, so you do have to excuse me a little bit. But what I've seen this season, that's a strange position for Marcus Hamilton to be in. He's normally further up than that. Your favourite paint job is currently circling round in 27th place.
Oh, well, we just cut the cameras to Mark O'Connell because I thought that's what you were talking about there with the bright pink. He's in 17th right now, and Ash Blakeley for Team Noob is the one you're talking about in 27th.
Yep. And I believe we are now joined by Linus DIY Speciality Extraordinaire Brostrom.
Hello.
Good evening, Linus. Maybe you can explain your DIY problems to us.
The thing that happened today.
Yeah, something to do with wood and screw.
I was building a wall at work, and then I was putting a board up, and the screw broke, so I had to take it back out by using another screw, and then as I was taking that out, I put the screwdriver the wrong way, so it tightened around my hand, pushed it between the plank and the wall. So
Aren't you already recovering from one arm injury?
Yeah, it was the same hand actually, so
Well,
it was pretty terrible.
and,
We shouldn't laugh.
Linus will be joining us tonight, and he's racing in the GT Sprint Cup and also the touring cars, both also available on BSR TV. And how's the Sprint Cup going, Linus?
I'm currently 4th in the championship, I think, with 4 races to go. But unfortunately I'll miss the last 2, so I'm not going to have a chance to finish in the top 5 there, I don't think.
He's been doing pretty well for a rolling roadblock.
Martin Peck, currently in 25th position. We expect to see him a little bit higher up the field, Matt.
Yeah, I suspect he'll sneak a lap in at the end of quali. There again, there's a few of the guys that are quite quick that seem to be struggling today. Marcus Hamilton, Clark Williams, Tim Adcock, George Lambert in 13th, Rob Green in 14th. That's a surprise to see them down there. And yeah, Martin Peck, wow, is all you got to say that one.
But it really is a tough field, though, isn't it? To break into the top 10 here, you've got to be pretty special. You've got Richard Avery coming in this season. Don Brennan is in. Povey's back. I don't think Hulbert's back this evening, but it's an all-star top 10 no matter which way you look at it, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's a second covers the top 14, so that's all you need to know. And then after that, there's another second before you get to 25th place. So it's extremely tight.
Just having a look at these last few corners, Peck is struggling. There looks to be a little bit of understeer in his car at the moment. Not a lot of things you can set up on the Skip Barber, so it's more about smooth driving style, smooth throttle and brake application, and really just keeping the car consistent on those knobbly old road tyres. He's coming over the line in just a moment, a 139 to beat, and he's not going to do it this time around. Oh, just outside, 139.3, so no improvement for Peck, and it's getting a little bit thin on the ground in terms of time remaining, Matt.
Yeah, it is. Tom Ward thrown one up into second place there, so he's now in what you'd like to call a Wodgewich. Sitting there between the two Wodges.
Front row of the grid for Tom Ward. He's the best qualifying out of the Friction Racing guys, and Hamilton's now down to 11th.
Paul Grillo is the one to keep an eye on this lap. He's currently sat behind Simon Povey, who we know is not slow either, and he'll be picking up an extremely useful tow off somebody that quick.
Well, here's the thing. Graham Carroll's now down to 5th place. He's the wild card in this top 10 list, for me, at least. Sure, he won't appreciate me saying that. We'll see how he can finish, but Marcus Hamilton, if he doesn't qualify well, will be looking to move up quickly through the grid. And it's not the easiest circuit to do this on, Matt.
No, it isn't. But we've seen here in recent years that right-hander into that uphill hairpin. You have to excuse me. I've no idea on corner names at the best of places. But the right-hander up into that uphill hairpin is always a place where you see some action and contact. And it's sometimes a little bit better to be at the back of the pack for that than it is to be in the front of it.
Well, we're well past the halfway point in the season right now. Round 8 of 12 in the Skip Barber series. 3 minutes to go in this qualifying session. It's now or never for some of these drivers. I've got a feeling that the top 2 will be fighting it out for the championship honours. That is Rapstin and Hamilton. Savidovic isn't far behind, but Rapstin's never won a championship, and I don't believe Hamilton has either, so new champion whichever way you look at it, unless Savidovic gets in there.
No, and Richard Avery and Paul Grillo have now thrown themselves in between the two Wodges as well, so there's Rabstin in 1st and Savidovic down to 5th place. Chris J. Morris and Darren C. Morris following each other round at the back as well. I've got to wonder, are those two related?
It could well be. Then again, Morris is not an uncommon name, so you never know. We've got several, well, family teams, if you like. Tim Adcock and Stuart Adcock running round, and that's interesting. Hamilton's moved into P7 now. Hamilton will be starting higher up than we thought, which pushes Clark Williams down. Martin Peck has got 19th now, but still not a good position to start in, considering it's only half an hour of racing, Matt.
No. Yeah, not really many more you can say to that, is there? Other than, no, that's a bit rubbish by his standards.
Oh, we'll see if he can pull something out of the bag in the last 2 minutes of qualifying here.
You should say, mind, he has had a few weeks off, hasn't he? So we should give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's a bit rusty.
Martin Peck, 4 starts this season out of 7 races, so started just over half of them. No Mark Mercer this evening, so that eases the top 10 ever so slightly. And Plumley down in 27th for Team Castrol, drafting with his teammate Steve Hefford there. Team Castrol always turn out and put the effort in, and don't have the top 10 drivers as such, but nice to see those two guys still going. Plumley replacing Dan Hunt this season, who has decided to give us one a miss. And really, he races in absolutely everything we do, I think, on BSR TV.
He does, but
well.
he's sulking a little bit at the moment. He's going to run an MX-5 series from next season, I believe, is the intention. Doesn't get on with the faster cars, so he's thrown his toys at the pram.
Well, the MX-5 is a really kind of love it or hate it car on the iRacing service, an odd choice for cars.
I think it'd be a good fun series, that one. It's we quite often in the slower cars see some really close racing, so I believe the intention is to run random grids as well, so that'll throw the cat amongst the pigeons, and yeah, that'd be quite a good laugh, that one.
So with 45 seconds to go, things are still subject to change, but not by too much, as the two Wojteks take the front row of the grid there as Savidovic jumps back up into 2nd place. Good result for him there, and Tom Ward is starting in 4th place there. Favourites, Linus, for the race. Rapstin, could he take this one?
I think he will, especially if his teammates can hold off the guys behind, but he's been quick all season, Rapstin, so especially at Brands Hatch, he's got very good pace, as long as the back markers stay out of the way when they're about to get lapped.
He does have form for throwing it into the scenery at this place, though, doesn't he? I seem to remember both times we've been here, Rapstin's decided to go the Mad Russian monk route and lob it off into the trees.
Yeah, we did have a rather large collision, I think it was last season, this very course, and it wasn't, I mean, it was a mistake, it wasn't a deliberate sort of reckless act on Rapstin's part, but that was when Blake Townend
Hamilton just took 2nd.
Wow, so Savidovic down to 3rd. But yeah, the consistency of Rapstin has improved no end over the last few races, if not the season at hand, and that's why he's in such a good position right now. Hamilton, well, the top 2 in the table are 1 and 2 on the grid.
Can I change my comment about Rapstin then?
Well, Hamilton is in with more of a chance now, but do you think he's favourite to take this?
Well, now that he's not got his teammate next to him, I think it's going to be a good battle between Hamilton and Rapstin. And I actually think Savidovic is going to come out of this with a win.
Dominic Brennan was hoping to improve his lap time there, but I think he's just caught some traffic at the wrong time. He's the only one left on track that could improve. No, Steve Hefford's thrown it off into the grass, so last man on track who could improve his time is Dom Brennan at the moment.
And it looks pretty good. He's coming over the line in any moment now. 137.9 to beat. Just missed by a 1/10 of a second, so no improvement. And 9th place for Dom Brennan. That is it for qualifying, and we'll head down to the grid in just a moment. Rapstin takes pole position with Hamilton joining him on the front row of the grid, and then Savidovic in 3rd and Avery in 4th. It's not the quickest start, but always action-packed down to the hairpin on the first lap, Matt.
Yep. You have to dust off the carnageometer and see how it works.
Well, I just it's going to be fascinating to watch these guys, especially Martin Peck starting quite so far back. He's not actually starting all that far in front of Steve Hefford on the grid, but he's going to want to side through that field as wasn't going to say anything, but he's going to want to side through that field as quickly as possible. And there's Dom Brennan just, well, the car's going so far back, they've gone round the corner of the grid, and we've seen them go around that final corner, the kind of hairpin-esque corner right at the end of the circuit as well. We will have about 30 minutes of racing. 4 more races to come in the season, so now is the time to really insist upon taking your championship position, as it were. These guys are in for, well, hopefully it'll be a fun race for these guys, and hopefully it'll be an entertaining race to watch. It's normally action-packed.
Someone's going to have fun. The only prediction I'm going to make, someone's going to have fun, someone's going to throw their toys at their pram, and someone's going to end up in tears.
That's bad average for the Skip Barber. So we just have a look around to the back of the grid there. There are more cars behind those huts that you can't see on the camera, and it's going a long way back. We're almost formed up at the front, a few guys delaying a little bit. There can't be that many settings to check on these cars. Little wiggle from Savinovic, make sure his steering is aligned properly, and that's his teammate Rapstin. So, in a way, Matt, it's a good position for Savinovic to be in, because he can follow his teammate down into turn 1.
Yep, not a bad one. He'll have the inside line. Whether he'll get a chance to get past Marcus Hamilton or not, we'll find out shortly.
No grid for George Streetley, but we got a green, so round 8 of the Skip Barber is underway from Mid-Ohio already. That's the number 33 moving to the centre of your picture there. Good start from Ramsden, he's away. Hamilton round the outside tries to hold on to P2 right now.
As well.
And that's not a great camera view there, sorry about that. And Rapsden brings them all down to the hairpin for the very first time. Just look at all those Skip Barbers trying to squeeze through there. Already Hamilton trying to assert that pressure for the first place.
He's got him. I think he'll have him there. He's certainly got the inside for the run down the straight. And Rapstin's thrown it at the scenery, just as predicted.
Well, Rapstin's off, down to second. He's going to have to watch out not to make contact with his teammate there. Savinovic drafting Hamilton. As we come into this, when we talked about this overtaking zone here, Matt, it's going to be very, very tight with 5 cars and a huge line coming down to this corner.
Yep, Rapstin may actually be in the best place around the outside there to regain some positions, and does so. I think he may get... Oh,
Grillo's
Grillo's
off.
been punted.
I'm going to try and get some pictures of Grillo right now. He's way off into the gravel.
I believe that was the Marlboro paint job of Graham Carroll.
Let's have another look at that one on the replay. So Grillo into the braking zone there, and I think he just got squeezed. He just came across Carroll, who was trying to avoid the Ninja racing car up in front. He survives. Grillo gets spun round. Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it, Matt? He's got to leave more room there, surely.
Which one?
Well, both drivers. I mean, Grillo's coming around the outside.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I think you call that one racing incident.
So Grillo all the way round, almost to the back of the grid there, in 30th place right now. Peck up to 18th, but no real progress from the Stealth Assassin just yet. I think Plumley's off as well. Plumley is taking it.
Rapstin dropping a couple of wheels on the grass and doing a bit of Richard Burnham style.
Well, Rapstin
chucking cones at the guys behind him as well. He's certainly pushing hard, isn't he?
He's reasserted the lead, hasn't he? But what did you make of that Paul Grillo incident there, Linus?
I haven't seen it yet. I was watching the battle for the lead, so I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, maybe we'll come back to that one a little bit later. At the moment, Tom Ward holding on to 4th, Savinovic 3rd, Hamilton and Rapstin are 2nd and 1st, respectively. Rapstin's going to struggle here to hold on to this lead, and there's going to be a huge pack forming behind them. And, well, it was actually Richard Avery who made contact with Paul Grillo's car, not Graham Carroll, so Carroll keeping his nose out of trouble there, and it was Avery. And Carroll made that ambitious dive at the start of the race. And he's doing well, isn't he? Fifth position from here. It's looking pretty bright for Graham Carroll for a good result.
Yep, if he can stick onto the back of these front 5, he should be good. And again, Rapstin's just pulling a couple of car lengths through this whole twisty section, and then they just reel him back in as soon as they get to that big straight with the draft.
Different drivers quick in different places, of course, but the draft a huge advantage here, which you won't benefit from if you're out in the front. But how about further back in the field, Linus? What are we looking at?
Pretty much single file so far. A couple of moves back and forth, but nothing much at the moment.
Excellent, thanks for the update. Graham Carroll in 5th position, could be on for a great result here. Martin Peck still moving up the field as we just watch all of these cars swarm through this hairpin again. Couple too wide there, everybody keeping it fairly under control.
Rapstin on the grass again.
We haven't seen any major incidents other than Other than Paul Grillo, really, Matt, rather.
Yeah, no, well, I'm just watching this battle. You've got Hamilton's going for the outside, yeah? That's going to end in tears.
Too wide.
Oh, it's not going to work.
Hamilton's going to have to give that one up, and he's sacrificed a little bit of time there to Savidovic, who might try and... No, he keeps it in line. Graham Carroll down the inside of Tom Ward.
Oh, that's cheeky.
And Tom Ward held up by Savidovic's indecisiveness as to whether he was going to make that move or not. Carroll not quite on the end of that overtaking manoeuvre, and the Marlborough seems skip Barber there. That's one of your favourite themes, isn't it? Paint schemes?
I've got a similar one, yep. Mine's slightly different to that. Mine's a replica of the old IndyCar version, but yep.
Graham Carroll at number 33 chasing down Tom Ward. Can he do it? He's extremely fast round here. Just clips the grass a little bit on braking, which won't help. And rounding out lap 3, it's looking pretty bright for Graham Carroll. Yep.
See, to me, I think Rapstin just looks a little bit ragged. He doesn't look like somebody who's who's got any in reserve. He seems to be driving at 10 tenths. You know, he's really using all the track and more, and the body English of that car is pretty angry.
Well, in actual fact, he doesn't need to. Oh, Savidovic down the inside here. I don't think he's got the run to get past Hamilton, and he hasn't. But Savidovic doesn't really... Rapstin doesn't really need to, Matt, does he? Because he's got his teammate behind him. He can just ease off a bit in the knowledge that he's then stacking up these other guys. So,
nah.
Although Hamilton has the pressure...
no, I don't think he can.
No?
I don't think he can. He'll know that Marcus Hamilton's teammate is behind Savidovic as well, and if he lifts even a little bit, he's liable to get mobbed by all of these guys. And you've got the guys like Graham Carroll and the other guys behind him who've got nothing to lose, and if you start getting tangled in with those guys, nah. Best place for him to be, safest place, is exactly where he is.
That's absolutely right at the moment. Although he looks a bit better this lap. Hamilton showing no quarter whatsoever. He is continuing to challenge for the lead. Another mistake from Rapstin. It looks like I spoke too soon. It was on the grass. He sacrificed a lot of speed there, Matt.
He just looks ragged, doesn't he? He doesn't look entirely comfortable.
It's another missed apex from the Racing Game Show driver as he's recovering.
All the way back to Raymond Norris, you've got a whole string of cars before you've got any kind of gap at all.
One mistake from any of these guys, a little bit larger than what Rapstin's just done there, and that will be it. They lose a whole load of places. Just look at them all coming through here, right back to Raymond Norris, as you say. Savidovic continues to lean on Hamilton, and again Rapstin goes wide.
Yep, flicking up the cones.
Well, it's a good thing those cones can't damage your car, otherwise
is there an incident point limit in this? Oh, Marcus Hamilton's having a go. Sorry, Graham Carroll's having a go. There's
down the inside of Tom Ward once again. It's a good move.
Yep, pretty aggressive, but it made it work.
Well, it was only a matter of time, wasn't it? Really.
He's he's certainly not held him back in this one, is he? I think he's got a sniff of a good result, and he's really going for it. Savidovic trying to go around the outside, trying to make it 3 wide. That's not going to end well either.
Very early on the brakes from Graham Carroll. He should just about hold on to that one. Is he going to overtake
his teammate at the same time? Yes. No. Yes. No.
Well, Hamilton drops down to 3rd, but there's so much action going on here.
Scrap with Tom Ward.
Avery's looking for a piece of this one as well. He gets into the fight now. Tom Ward is determined not to lose that position. They've been too wide for half a lap now, and they're going to lose a lot of time.
Touch of wheels there as well. Yeah, they have lost a little bit of time, but not too bad.
Mistake from Don Brennan pushes him down to 8th as Povey slips through, and Thomas O'Leary, the other Friction Racing driver, is just behind these guys. But there's nothing in this, is there? Rob Green must be thinking, all I've got to do is wait for one of these guys to make a mistake.
Someone's going to get it, isn't he? It's going to be tears for someone.
I think it has to.
Someone's going to get the Maldonado treatment at some point.
I think it has to. What about you, Linus?
Yeah, it's looking pretty tight, and I don't think there's going to be too many laps of this before someone goes off in the grass and in the wall.
We've seen
tight as a Scotsman's wallet.
We see we're completely multi-ethnic and multicultural on this show, with the exception of Matt Dalton. But we've seen.
No, I will abuse everybody evenly.
Well, that fulfills our criteria. Then, well done. So we've seen Rapstin off on the grass a couple of times. Doesn't seem to have suffered too much, really, Matt.
No, I think the draft is enough that they can maybe drop a couple of car lengths and keep going. But of course, he's got to remember the front guys are all squabbling as well. So Savidovic having another look at his teammate. That's not especially what Ravstin is going to want to see, is it?
Well, these two are racing for championship position. They did draft with each other in qualifying, and they are on the same team, although that's going to allow... Here comes Hamilton. No. So a much better run out of that corner from Savidovic, as Ravstin had to defend the inside line there.
There we go. You've got Carroll and the Ward and the chasing pack of vultures have all decided they're going to get involved in this. Now, Graham Carroll is looking very, very aggressive, isn't he? He's all over the track trying to create overtaking opportunities. The irony is, if you do that, you're going to lose a place like he might do to Tom Ward here.
Tom Ward just gets it wrong.
Yep, and there we go, and that's exactly what can happen. You make one little mistake, get one little touch like that, and he gets absolutely monstered by about 15 guys.
I'll tell you what though, good save from Tom Ward. That could have been a lot worse and involved a lot more cars.
Yep.
Brennan and Povey slipped through.
Now. 3 wide into turn 1, that's not going to go well.
Well, none of these drivers want to lift whatsoever, because the guy behind is going to just take the position straight from them. It's going to be 2 wide again coming down to the hairpin, as we've got Brennan on the left and Tom Ward is over on the right there. 2 of the GR guys are just behind as well as O'Leary. O'Leary side by side.
Savidovic has gone wide up front as well, and that's allowed Ravstin to have a run at him.
Well, there's still 2 packs of 2 wide just behind on lap 7 here at Mid-Ohio. And O'Leary's dropped a place to Rob Green. Let's go back to the front as Savidovic and Ravstin side by side.
That's just shaking that pack up a little bit, isn't it? That
Hamilton down the inside.
3 wide.
Savidovic has got to let that one go, surely.
999.
Wow, look at Graham Carroll now. He's relishing the opportunity to get stuck into this fight. And, well, that was an aggressive move from Hamilton, using all of the track there just to slip into that tiny little gap that Savidovic had left by the side of the road.
Giggity.
And Graham Carroll is now on for possibly a 3rd place, but...
I think he smells a bit more than that, doesn't he? You get the impression that he's... I mean, he is looking really, really aggressive. I don't think he wants 4th. In fact, that's not really a place to try and overtake.
That's Richard Avery just behind. He's holding on to that position very well and challenging. But yeah, Graham Carroll, if he could take his first win here, would be incredible.
That's really... Meanwhile, a bit further back, that really has split this pack up, hasn't it? Behind Simon Povey now, there's a little bit of a gap to Tom Ward and Don Brennan, and then O'Leary, Green, Lambert and Norris have dropped off the back of that gap, so that's reduced the size of the pack somewhat.
And there's a gap then back to Tim Adcock behind Raymond Norris, as there was before. It's not a huge gap, it's 3 seconds.
Yeah, Graham Carroll and Richard Avery having a little scrap there, and Simon Povey's going to nab the 2 of them round the inside. No, it's not Simon Povey, sorry, that's... yeah, it is Simon Povey.
Simon Povey, I tell you what, as well, Carroll defended that so aggressively, he forced both drivers out wide, somehow managed to get the exit he needed to keep Simon Povey at bay. And Avery...
Pickpocket.
Yeah.
These three need to just stop this, though, because that's going to allow the leaders to escape. They need to sit tight, work as a team, and just hang on for a couple of laps.
Carroll
that said, they're back on the back of the leaders, so that just makes me look stupid. I just hate this series, honestly.
Well,
it makes a mockery of you in the combox commentary constantly, doesn't it?
Savidovic back into 2nd place, and I almost don't know if we can fit it in, Linus, but what's going on further down the field? Because we can't take our eyes off this.
There's a few cars going at it, pretty much single file, but they're changing positions sometimes, all the way from Tim Adcock in 13th down to Daniel Kraft in 18th. But it's nothing like what you're seeing at the front, so keep your eyes there.
Thanks, Linus. Martin Peck up to 15th.
Sorry, slow guys, but screw you. You're all you're off the menu for today.
And Grillo, who was down to 30th place at one stage after that early collision, is now up to 23rd, recovering well.
Where is Captain Stealth?
Martin Peck, 15th place right now. He's got Jamie Bird just up in front of him. He has left Steve Hefford behind, who he started next to, and he will be looking to take Jamie Bird pretty shortly. His lap times are quicker, not a lot quicker, but they are quicker.
Ooh, Graham Carroll's just in a little bit of a touch on the back of Marcus Hamilton there, so that's allowed Simon Povey to do his best pickpocketing trick and nab another wallet.
Well, Povey's down the inside now. He will take that wallet.
Oh, Richard Avery going to make it 3 wide? Again, that usually doesn't work out well.
Again, really aggressive driving there from all of these guys at the front.
Sensible, though, from Graham Carroll. Really sensible. Saw what was coming, thought, nah, not having any of that. Just stood on the brake a little bit.
He knew he had the outside line and the least favourable of those 3 positions. Tom Ward.
Really, really sensible driving that.
Tom Ward's just behind. Don't rule him out because he was in 4th at one stage. Don Brennan is still behind. Povey's put a wheel on the grass.
Wide.
Well, that mistake allows Tom Ward through.
As well now.
Now, will Brennan take this place as well from Povey? I think he will.
No, I'm not sure.
2 wide as we head into the final corner on lap 9.
You're getting here, I think.
Povey's just going to focus on the exit here, taking a nice wide entry.
Rob Plumley, good lad. Knows that everybody's coming behind him. The best way to get out of that way of that train is to dive into the pits. Well done, Rob. Not having a great race by his standards, but, you know, ever the gentleman, that's a top thing to do.
Well, Plumley currently the last running car. We only had one didn't start, and that was... Ash Blakeley gets out of the way as well, very good. And that was George Streetley, who didn't grid for some reason, but no one has retired from this race yet.
Oh, Richard Avery, good save, almost lost it through the hairpin there. Did well to hang on to that one. He'll have been holding his breath. He'll have turned a shade of blue in his living room, stroke dining room, stroke man cave, stroke garage, stroke shed, stroke under the stairs. Because oh god, these guys don't have to put rigs in weird places.
Wow, how did he hold on to that one? It was incredible.
Yeah,
he did.
Change of underwear.
Avery down to 6th now. Carroll still holding on to that 4th position, although under threat from Tom Ward, who is the main benefactor of these slight mistakes creeping into some of these drivers' lines on these last few laps.
Yep.
More than halfway through now. Rabston's lead is not significant, but Carroll in 4th has dropped off the lead pack by about 1 second. So because
these two guys, all they need is the guys up in front of them to start messing about, and they'll be back on them. In fact, there you go. He's closed up quite close. Oh, Don Brennan's lost it.
Oh, Don Brennan's destroyed that car as well. What on earth has happened there? Let's go back and get a replay of that one if we can. So he's just chasing down Simon Povey on this replay here.
I think he's just pushing too hard and dropped the wheel on the grass.
Just out of nowhere. Unusual place to have an incident there, just cresting that hill. And he was unlucky not to control that one. We've seen some good control from these drivers throughout the race, and just couldn't keep that one under control. Ash Blakeley as well is going very slowly for some reason. I don't know if he's...
Tom Ward again having another look at Graham Carroll there, but that's not going to work.
Well, they're fighting hard up front, that's for sure. And now it's a lead group of about 7 back to Simon Povey, because George Lambert is now separated from these guys by about 3 seconds. Graham Carroll defending that inside line. Oh, has he?
No, I thought he'd left a bit too much of a gap there.
I think you just realised and tried to move over, and Tom Ward decides to get the line, but
that's not going to work. He just
ran
a bit
out
too
of grip there. Povey as well is off.
That looks strange. That looks like he's actually just pulled off.
That does. Simon Povey retires from the race from 8th position for no apparent reason. Interesting.
He slammed into the side of Richard Avery going into that right-hander.
As he maybe picked up some damage.
Maybe get a replay on that one then.
Yeah, there's some damage to the rear of Richard Avery's car as well. You can just see his wings a little bit bent up.
So here's that move with Ward, and here's Povey against Avery up front. Povey much later on the brakes. I think Povey's just got on the brakes too late there and couldn't get the car turned in, and yeah, he's caused too much damage to that. That's all it takes, folks, in iRacing.
That's probably all it takes in reality, to be honest with you. You just need a couple of little wishbones, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah, it's almost realistic, I suppose. Some of the physics isn't, but the damage model is at least
Get
realistic.
out of it. I think the physics is pretty good. The grass is a bit weird, but the rest of it's pretty good.
And the car's in orbit, is that realistic?
Which car's in orbit?
It's a feature of the touring car racing whenever we see collisions on that particular series, which we host on Thursdays on both CPSR TV. The cars normally go about 100 feet in the air.
Yeah, but I think that's a reflection of the driver skill and the way they try and hit each other in that series.
Well, it's definitely more contact based.
I don't think they need. Yeah, they don't need.
No,
brakes.
3 wide.
3 wide up front.
Savinovic round the outside. He will just about get this one probably because he's got the inside for the next corner.
I think Hamilton will try and hang on to this one and keep the inside yet. Yep, does so as well.
No, Savinovic,
of course, that allows
yep.
Graham Carroll and Tom Ward to just ease back up onto him.
Meanwhile, Rapston's getting away, so the more pressure Savinovic can put on Hamilton, the more of a gap Rapston can pull, and it's now 0.7 of a second. And you say 0.7 of a second like it's an eternity, but it really isn't, is it, Matt?
No, it's but it's enough in this series. I mean, if Savinovic keeps
contact with the back
of him,
Hamilton. That's going to let Graham Carroll through, and that's going to be damage for Savinovic. And Savinovic, huge damage. He's lost it. Oh, makes contact with Avery as well.
Richard Avery.
Ah, terrible news for Savinovic, and that car is not getting back on the track anytime soon.
Big question, has Graham Carroll picked up any damage from that? Because he took a bit of a hit to the left rear.
Well, let's have another look at this one from Savinovic's point of view. I might have gone a little bit far back on the tape, but that's... Now, he was in third position, Matt, and he just gets the braking wrong, doesn't he? Just makes contact with the back of Hamilton's car.
That's just flat over aggressive, and he's, you know, I think he'll be the first to hold his hand up on that one and say, oops.
No, it's caused some damage to the back of Hamilton's car there. And then from here...
and Carroll's going to go for second place here. I think Graham Carroll seems to have avoided any damage from what I can see on his car.
Well,
that's going to be...
Yeah, and there's the contact with Avery, and he's over. It's
Tom
over
Ward
for Savinovic.
Just absolutely threw from about 6 or 7 car lengths back, threw it sideways into the corner. That's the last of the late breakers and then some, that one.
Well, I think Ward knows that his teammate Hamilton's car is damaged. Hamilton dropping down the order, but he's not that much slower with only 3 laps to go. Should be able to hold on. He's got a 5-second gap now. And we talked about it before the race, Linus, didn't we? And we said it was going to be a mistake at some point, and it looks to be Savinovic that's made it.
Yeah, unfortunately for him. But as tight as they've been throughout the whole race, it was bound to happen at some point, and just lucky it didn't take out 5 cars like it did at Brands Hatch.
I think he just got a bit hot under the collar and a bit hot-headed there, because all they had to do, they could see Rapston pulling away. Realistically, still got a couple of laps to go. They could have just held line astern until they got to that big straight and pulled him in, then had a go at him. But we see it occasionally in this series, don't we? The guys get a little bit too hot under the collar, a little bit rash in the heat of battle, and try things they probably shouldn't. And I think Big Wodge, like I said, I think he'll hold his hand up on that one and say he just got in there way too hot.
Well, it might well have been a slight mistake from Hamilton, a very tiny mistake that gave Savinovic perhaps an idea to get down the inside into that final
Tom Ward
corner.
going around the outside of Graham Carroll yet.
Ward's not going to get it done, but...
No, he's gone for the switchback. He is chucking that thing all over the place, isn't he?
Well, this is the view from the nose of Tom Ward's car.
If it was Project Gotham, he'd be winning style points left, right and centre. Good old PGR. Of course, Forza Horizon, the new one, isn't there? Apparently they got style points in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
For anybody dumb enough, I mean lucky enough to have bought an Xbox One.
Well, Graham Carroll holding on to a second place here. I don't think he's got any realistic chance of catching Rapston in the last 3 laps, but what a fantastic result this would be with the big boys, and Tom Ward doing everything he can to take that second place back. Almost see his reflection in that piece of metal on the back of the Skip Barber under the brake light there. It couldn't be much closer.
I can't help thinking that Tom Ward's still got a little bit of red mist from the little bit of contact these two had earlier on, and that I don't think he's going to sit there. I've got to be honest.
No, well, we'll see a move before the end of the
Graham Carroll
race.
can see in his wing mirrors, he can see between the gap in that helmet a couple of bright red blazing eyes, I think.
Well, another 2 opportunities for Tom Ward down this long back straight as we head down there on the penultimate lap. What about the rest of the field, Linus? How's that shaping up?
We've had a good battle for 10th a few laps ago. That's been promoted all the way up to 5th now between Thomas O'Leary, George Lambert and Raymond Norris. And also Martin Peck has got all the way up to 10th, thanks to all of this.
He just always does it, doesn't he? You just can't take your eyes off him.
Well, Tom Ward around the outside of Carroll now, but gets it a little bit wrong, and we've seen Ward do that on a number of occasions in this race. Just so easy to get on the brakes late there.
Poor Grillo to have clawed his way back to 16th, and he's still trying to make places. He could get in another 2 year.
Well, he's battling with Clark Williams. Let's go over to that battle
I think
now.
he's decided discretion's a better part of valour on that one, but that's an incredible comeback.
Good battle here between Clark Williams and Clive Armstrong as well, in which Grillo is now a part, very active part, and that's Clark Williams going through, Clive Armstrong in the yellow car there. Grillo switches to the other side, looking for a way past both of these guys, and whilst these two guys are battling it out, Grillo's going to have a hard time because he needs the track space to get past one and then the other, not both, unless he's feeling extremely brave. But Clark Williams now leaves Clive Armstrong for dust. Grillo has the inside line, and we're going to be coming into the final corner on the penultimate lap. Just can't hold that speed in a straight line, Grillo.
No, I think he realises he's back in with the Sunday drivers, as opposed to saying, I don't mean that in any derogatory term to any of them, because they're all quicker than me, but compared to the guys at the front, and I think he realises that perhaps doing what he would with some of the guys at the front isn't going to work.
Well, Thomas O'Leary getting a big chunk of that grass, dropping him down to 8th place on the final lap.
Tom Ward about to have a go at Graham Carroll again, I think, and Graham's going to have to make that the widest Marlborough painted skip Barber on the face of God's green earth.
Well, Tom Ward,
I think it's too late. I think Tom Ward's got him this time.
And here comes Hamilton as well. He'll want all the points he can get because Rapston's currently winning this race. But yeah, absolutely there. Tom Ward is through. Can Hamilton get another place before the end of the race? I don't think Carroll will be third.
If Carroll manages to get even a glimpse of second, you know he's going to go for it. He's been pretty aggressive all race, so this one's not over with by any stretch.
Mistake there up ahead from Tom Ward, just runs a little bit wide. Looks to be okay though. One corner left now for Graham Carroll to take that second position back. Can he do it? That's the question. Round 8 comes to a close. Oh, it's very close. He's not going to do it.
No, not going to happen.
Rapston over the line.
Good effort though.
Good win from Rapston. Saw some early mistakes, but yeah, kept it under control. Ward takes second place. It says third, but it's actually second, isn't it?
Yep, it is second.
Yep. And Carroll third, Hamilton fourth. Wasn't sure then, it was very close at the end. Results coming up on your screen now. Fantastic race, Linus. A really, really tight battle at the front, and Rapston's victorious in the end, not Hamilton.
No, Hamilton got unlucky there with the damage, and from that point on I think Rapston was able to just focus on his race and pull away while the other guys were battling.
Grillo managed to sneak himself up to 14th.
So points all the way down to 20th place in this championship, so both him and Martin Peck, who got home in 9th. Very, very good results for both of them. Grillo obviously suffering from that early incident with Richard Avery. Graham Carroll, though, has to be the driver of the day, surely.
Yeah, I think for pure aggression and speed, I think you've got to say that's a great result for him. I think you have to say as well, Tom Ward's pretty spectacular. He was making some pretty insane shapes with that car through some of the corners. So.
Well, the controversy is,
really
of course, really, really good race, yeah, absolutely, and the controversy is that Hamilton sustained that damage and lost those places through contact with the winner's teammate, Savidovic, so the gap expands at the top of the championship in Rapston's favour, and Hamilton will feel hard done by, won't he, Matt?
Yeah, but like I said, I think that's it's just one of those things. I suspect Big Wodge, as I said, will hold his hands up on that when he knows he'll have made a mistake there. So
let's go over and have a quick word with 5th place finisher George Lambert, if we possibly can. Evening, George.
Hi, Chris.
Welcome to BSR TV. 5th place in that result, in that race in the end, is really, really tight at the front, wasn't it?
Yeah, the battle I was in was crazy all race.
Well, it was probably not going to be a 5th, if it's fair to say, until there was some little bit of argy-bargy between Hamilton and Savidovic. Where were you in that race up until that point?
I think I was down in 9th or 10th, somewhere around there.
But it was very difficult to actually get any kind of position in that race because of the sheer nose-to-tail action that was going on. consistency key, or is it more down to aggression and taking the chances when you could?
Well, when at the start, when it was all in file, as it were, then everyone was basically going the same speed as the leader, which made it hard to pass. But yeah, once the gaps opened up because of people battling, it became a lot easier.
Well, you kept it safe and kept it on the track out there. Was that intense, or was it quite fun to drive?
Yeah, the track was really low grip, so it's been quite an evening.
Well done. 5th place, not to be sniffed at at all, and hoping to see some more good results from you before the end of the season. Thanks, George.
Thanks.
George Lambert there, with a hard-earned 5th place and susceptible to damage from all right, left and centre potentially, but kept it out of trouble in the end, Matt.
Yeah, good run, and you know, that's half the battle in this, isn't it?
It really is, and top quality racing from the guys at the front and throughout the field, really, because we didn't lose that many. We lost Savidovic, Chris Morris, Povey and Brennan during that race, and everybody else finished, so low retirement rate, a really top performance, and a track that always produces good action. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one in the schedule again. Of course, it depends on iRacing and their official schedule as well, but Mid-Ohio, always good for a little bit of entertainment, shall we say. No Blake Townend to liven it up this time, but it was lively enough on its own.
No, it's a cracking track. It just seems to produce good racing, doesn't it? It's one of those ones like Spa and Alton Park that seem to produce some really good racing, and that we like seeing in the series. And it'd be quite nice to see a few more like that, and a few less like Laguna Seca.
Well done to Wojtek Rapstin, who takes the victory once again. Hamilton can only manage 4th, so drops points in the championship, and Rapstin extends his lead. Tune in for more Skip Barber at the same time next week, 8:40 PM in the UK. Round 9 will be coming your way live on BSR TV, and the Sprint Cup Tuesdays in the McLaren, the IUF, and the BMW Z4, Z4, whatever you prefer.
We live in the established world in which, well, I was going to say we, but you guys invented the language, so I think the pronunciation is entirely up to yourselves.
Indeed, and that's Tuesdays from 8:15, and the touring cars will be back in action this Thursday from 8:15 once again. 3 races for the price of 1 on a Thursday evening. So from me and from Linus and from Matt, thanks very much for watching tonight, and we'll see you next time.